Welcome, horror fam, to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike. I'm here with my co-host, Duff.
Hey, guys.
We have our producer, Nico, on the line as well.
Hey, howdy, hey.
You can always find us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365, and you can always leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. On today's show, we will be discussing the new released Horror Night Nightmare speculation maps on both Orlando and the Hollywood events. But before we get to that, Duff, do we have any news and rumors that aren't going to be the main segment of the show?
We do. Real honesty here. We skipped a week. We didn't skip a week. I skipped a week. We made the episode. I didn't edit it. So we're kind of redoing an episode. So this news and rumors is a little bit older, like outdated by a week, but still news. As we already knew, the Waterworld tent in Hollywood was still standing. That's where you clearly saw Halloween 3, the Silver Shamrock facade. But also we have seen that the Mummy tent is still standing as well. And kind of lines up really well with the map we got from Horror Night Nightmares. So, two tents still standing, and that makes a lot of sense. We'll get into that in a minute.
Well, I love that we are in the season of that we're getting drone footage from Hollywood. It sounds like we're not going to get as much this year as we normally do, but give me that drone footage.
I love that drone footage.
Yes. Why don't we get as much drone footage from Orlando as we do Hollywood? It's like, I feel like
tighter security.
Tighter security.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to fly from, a mountain over to there and then fly back at Hollywood than it is to do it from the
Dr. Phillips High School.
Yeah, from Dr. Phillips High School or from the McDonald's with from the McDonald's with the very long drive-through.
It is a very long drive-through.
Yes, it is.
I prefer to go to the Checkers, world's largest Checkers, baby.
Yeah.
You love that Checkers.
Every time I love it. Well, I mean, it's the only Checkers near me, unfortunately. So I do love that Checkers.
Yeah, you do love that Checkers.
This is like an antithesis because on 13 I Like It, we talk about the world's largest entertainment McDonald's, but on here we talk about the world's largest Checkers, and they're both across the street from each other.
It's so on brand for us.
Largest Checkers, right? There's got to be.
No, it's the only one you can sit in.
One with a dining room, yeah.
It's the only wood Checkers with a dining room.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that also includes Rallies as well. So
probably. I don't know. I don't count Rallies. Why do you have that stupid name? Just call yourself Checkers, you fucking weirdos.
I think it's like a Hardee's Carl's Jr. sort of thing.
It is. I just want to talk shit because Checkers is
mad.
Checkers is my thing, Being from Florida, it's Checkers. It's not fucking Rallies.
Well, I'm a Hardee's boy until I die.
Wait, shouldn't you be a Carl's Jr. guy?
No, I'm a Hardee's boy. Through and through.
It's Hardee's in Utah?
Well, it was until Carl's Jr. took over. But when I was a kid, it was Hardee's.
Yeah, you missed the old orange and blue logo with the big H.
Yeah. Yeah, call me a Hardy boy.
We already do.
Solve a mystery.
All right, let's talk about Horror Nights.
We went a little off the rails there.
What's new?
So do we want to hop right into the main segment?
Yeah, let's do it. I guess we should probably start with the speculation maps because that's the most exciting part of today.
Yeah, spec map time. We got our first spec map.
And for time reasons, we'll start with Hollywood.
All right. So I had not seen this. I had not seen this spec map until 2 minutes before we started recording. Duff decided to show me this. And what was my reaction? I think I was just sad.
I think you went, "Oh, I'm sorry, Hollywood."
Yeah, it was like the Ben Affleck meme of like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." When I looked at it, I was like, "Oh no!" But then I saw that. Yeah, then I saw the words at the bottom. It looks like they're getting like an HHN light.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. According to Horror Night Nightmares, they are calling this speculation map HHN Light 2021 version 1.0. So you can probably guess there's not a lot going on, and you'd be correct. There's 2 houses and a scare zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the scare zone first?
Sure, go for it. There's not much to say.
The scare zone is called the Gauntlet Zone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is it going to be like American Gladiators in there? That's what it sounds like. When you try to get your pizza fries, there's like a guy just like standing on the building, like shooting tennis balls at you.
You hear the clanging of the metal ball rolling down.
Foam things they always smacked each other with that I always wanted to smack someone with.
Yeah.
I don't understand the layout of Hollywood's map perfectly well. All I know is this is in the upper lot. I can see that much. I don't know this exact location. It's somewhere near the middle of the park. That's all I got. I'm sorry. Hollywood's not my strong suit, guys.
Yeah, me neither. I could sit there and kind of describe like the little things that we had, but it wouldn't be very interesting for the podcast.
That's also all the info we have. It's called Gauntlet Zone. So not much to talk about on that scare zone. I mean, unless Mike is right and nailed the theme down of the zone, it's possible. You never know.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm right. It's definitely the American Gladiators, and they're going to have tennis balls flying while you try to eat your pizza fries.
It'll be great. Love it. All right, let's move on to the mazes. We need to stop calling them houses for the West Coast people. They don't like that. They don't like that.
Yeah, they don't like that.
So we'll start with the one that we kind of already knew. That's going to the Waterworld tent, which is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. That has been confirmed, speculated by Horror Night Nightmares.
Nothing has been confirmed.
No. And then also in the Mummy tent, we have not Beetlejuice. That's not the second house they're going to get. It's going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah, what an event.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wait to maybe go to the Hollywood event till 2022.
Yeah, I don't know if this would be great for your first year to experience it.
I mean, yeah, I've actually never stepped foot in the Universal Studios Hollywood. Yeah, I have not been there. I've been to California numerous times, but I've never made it to Universal over there. But I'll wait, I think.
Yeah, depending on how things are, I might make it over. We'll see, because I do want to hit Scary Farm. So if I'm out there during that season, I might as well pop over to some HHN Light.
There you go.
And since there's not too much to speculate on, like really anything within the event, let's speculate the base of the event and what HHN Light could be. Obviously, people are going to automatically assume that means it'll be HHN Light like we saw. So this will be 2 houses in the scare zone, open during normal operational hours of Universal Studios Hollywood. I'm not 100% convinced that's going to be the case. I don't know more than anyone else. That's just kind of my assumption, knowing that this isn't something that's known by these insiders. It's not something that's known yet. It's more just kind of like, this is what's expected. I'm leaning more towards it's going to be an after hours event that's included in your ticket. The thing is, like a scare zone during the middle of the day, that's so tough.
Yeah. That's the part that's throwing me off there.
And also, like, it's a park where space is a premium as is. So to be doing an HHN Light during normal park operation hours, I don't know. That seems rough there. So I could see it being like the park closes at 5, but with your ticket, you're good at HHN Light till 8 o'clock or whatever. Like, but then are 3 hours
still open? Or are they just kind of extending?
I could see them like leaving a few attractions open, but like, not everything's open.
Okay,
that's how I would picture it. I mean,
how does that make the money though?
It'd be a draw for people to go to people who are going there for HHN Light are not going there during the day. They're buying the ticket, so a full admission ticket to see these houses, and that's it. And it would help space out the crowds better.
But I would think they would only draw like annual pass holders. but
No,
I don't know. You think people
No,
would
I
just
think people
buy
would
like
still
a
go.
full admission ticket just for
Yeah.
200 houses?
Yeah, I think so
That's more
because it's
expensive than a Halloween Horror Nights ticket.
But the thing is, HHN it's huge over there. Like, we can say whatever we want about the event, but it has been extremely popular. It's extremely packed, and people love the event there. So it has its diehards that are going to see. There's HHN houses, so they will buy a ticket to go. Maybe they'll make a day out of it. Show up midday, hit a bunch of attractions, close out with some houses.
I'm not sold on this. I'm not sold on this.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine.
I think we get an HHN light similar to what we saw here, just during the normal scaled back hours that they probably will run with. But who knows?
That could be right. Again, I have no info on this. That's more of a kind of not even a gut feeling. It's more of I'm trying to think of what makes most sense operationally, and I think kind of having a separation between the two would be very helpful at that point.
You're thrown off by the gauntlet zone. That's
partially. That's not the only reason, but yeah, that's a factor for sure. Having a scare zone dead center of the park during like normal operation, that's just that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's true. That I don't see how they can necessarily do that because if this is, any sort of scary scare zone, how do they run this in the middle of like when you're trying to get your kids to Despicable Me? There's some crazy monster.
I just came for Life of Pets, and I got this motherfucker shooting tennis balls at my child.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
But yeah, we should also state that who knows what this is even going to look like. Who knows if Hollywood has an idea of what it's going to look like yet. And we should point out, and I think they'd admit it as well, Horror Night Nightmares, amazing track record for Orlando, kind of non-existent for Hollywood as of now. It's not that I doubt them, but they don't have that track record they do in Orlando yet. So, yeah, maybe things are still more up in the air than we see on this speculation map.
Not the same insider sources necessarily.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know how much more we can harp on 3 items on a spec map. So, ready to move on to our pride and joy, the Orlando event?
I am ready.
So, the biggest question has been, what replaces Billie Eilish? Well, Horror Night Nightmares is telling us what they think it's going to be, and what we are now confident it's going to be. And that's going to be something that we have seen at the Hollywood event. That's Creepshow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And you also may remember that was supposed to be a scare zone in Orlando. Guess what? It still is on their speculation map. So we are now looking at, on the current, we'll say the first spec map of this year, a Creepshow house in Shrek Theater and a Creepshow scare zone, which would be located in San Francisco.
When's the last time that they have done a house and scare zone together on the Orlando side, where it's not like based on like the icon of the year? Because I'm pretty sure they've done it with like Lady Luck. Well, I guess she wasn't really featured.
So, are you saying like an IP icon in scare zone?
Well, just when have it's basically, or like even original, but just not like the icon of the year. When have they done like a house and scare zone combo like that? That's not the icon of the year, like Bloody Mary or Jack. I know they've done it with Jack and Bloody Mary.
The closest thing I could think of is probably Zombiegeddon and Zombie Gra.
For those, I guess they did go together.
No, they were direct. Yeah, they were directly tied in.
They're directly tied in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go all the way back to 20 for that. Right?
Yeah, and that's Disaster was the house location in San Francisco was the scare zone. But I'm pretty sure that's the last time we saw that, and I honestly can't think of too many other times that it's really been a thing. outside of, like you said, a lot of icon. There's more icon tie-ins more than anything, where they'll work with houses. But for anything else, yeah, that's not very common.
So what I'm seeing here now, this just might be a mistake because they did not update it from the last time, but they have Creepshow in San Francisco Scare Zone, and then they have in the Shrek Theater, they have Creepshow. So they don't have it in Hollywood. So that is definitely wouldn't happen, right?
You bring up a point that many others have brought up in the past couple of days since this map has dropped, and that's, so the Creepshow Scare Zone's obviously going to move to Hollywood, and I say nay. It will not. And I have other concerns about the potential of it coming anyways, but we'll get to that part after this. And that's because Hollywood is like prime real estate. You know, you have Hollywood and I guess New York are probably your two, like, these are the prime locations for scare zones, right?
Yeah.
Are they going to give that up for a Creepshow tie-in scare zone?
Yeah, you're right.
That was originally planned for San Francisco, so I'm assuming, it's not going to have too much going on compared to what would normally be in Hollywood.
A logistic where they're like, we want to put the anniversary scare zone, and it looks like that's what they did. The best of scare zones mashup, at least according to Horror Night Nightmares map. We're going to put that where we want to put it, and we'll just have the Creepshow in San Francisco, even though we don't have a sound stage to tie in, but it'll be put where we need to put it, and people will deal with it.
Yeah. Can we move on to the other fun part about this? That has been rumored, and I think
the Fear Factor rest area.
No, we're staying on Creepshow. We're staying on Creepshow. Okay. We kind of heard a little bit about this before too, and now other people with insiders are starting to come out and say it. So I'm thinking this is pretty damn legit. Which is Creepshow was going to be there before they locked down Billy in the Shrek Theater. So what it's sounding like to me at this point is the original plan was Creepshow was going to be that house. Once they got Billy, they moved it to a scare zone. So now that it's moving back to a house, they're probably just going to get rid of the scare zone, scrap that, and go somewhere else with it, right?
That's what I would think. I don't think they're going to roll with both. I think they're, Horror Night Nightmares is kind of working with the information that they have, and I think that scare zone will be replaced.
It better be a huge fucking property. I was gonna say this, but I left it off when you asked. But does Walking Dead technically count? I guess it would.
Yes.
It's a little bit different than what we're talking about.
Scare zone that year was
bring it up because it's a little bit different. But I mean, yeah, technically. But I'm saying it has to be, if they're gonna do it like that, I think it has to be a property that's massive, like Walking Dead.
Maybe The Purge. Did they do it with The Purge in 2015? Or was that just a house? Did they have a zone?
No, they didn't do it with The Purge.
Because I get confused of how many.
Yeah, there's been scare zones and no, it was not.
Okay.
But yeah, so I just don't see them sticking to a property like Creepshow with a house and a scare zone. That's a lot of real estate it's taken up at an event like this for something that, I'm not upset about it coming. I think there's a lot of potential for it to be a decent house, but it's not a draw.
Yeah,
really.
Some of the other interesting things on the spec map that I'm seeing is that we are getting instead of the anniversary house. I think that's the last time we all we had was anniversary house. Now we have Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland. So we are actually looks like. If they are right, we're actually going to get our Scary Ohio themed house that had been heavily rumored.
I think we were pretty confident about that coming regardless.
Yes, that anniversary house was going to be Scary Ohio.
Yeah, and I think on the last spec, I don't know. I feel like maybe this isn't this is the last one. I could have sworn they included it at some point. I guess they took it off. Maybe they weren't confident on the name. But yeah, no.
At the most recent one.
Yeah, no, we are. I think they had it on at one point, then they pulled it off. Regardless, they have the tagline and everything, so that's when they're fully confident at this point. Not only they have a logo style.
Yeah, they have. They have a lot of things that I think may have been leaked. Like they have logos and stuff. So
yeah.
like,
well, I mean, here's the thing. There's not really any thought process to this because we've seen the HHN30 house shirt and what the back looks like.
Has that been leaked officially? The HHN house shirt?
I mean, not officially, but we've seen it.
Are we supposed to discuss that?
I mean, we're not going to discuss it. I'm just saying there's a reason these logos are on here as are.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was alluding to without fully.
You know, again, we aren't the people who are leaking stuff. We aren't going to show you it. We can say we saw it.
Okay.
I like that.
What's wrong with saying we saw it? It came out. We saw it. A lot of people saw it. And I'm just saying there's a reason these logos are on here, very stylized, because they saw what the logos look like.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough.
We can discuss things like that. We just can't leak them ourselves or go into extreme detail.
Okay. Fair enough.
In my opinion.
Yeah, we're aggregating what's publicly out there.
But it wasn't publicly out there.
What, the shirt?
Yeah,
I thought
it was not.
I saw it. Like it for me to see it, then
you saw it online?
It was on Twitter. So
yeah, it was on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that is what I didn't know.
Yeah.
I have only seen
this isn't. I wasn't like on the dark web picking this up, Mike.
I have just seen this from a friend. Like,
it's been on like. I won't rat anything out, but it's been on many outlets. We'll say.
Okay. It was even on Parler. Yeah. No.
All right. If it's publicly out there, then we can at least address that it's out there.
It exists, and it had the logos of the houses. So
okay, and Now that's not to say that they might change things up.
Oh yeah, of course, it's possible. But there's a reason they are working with so much confidence on these spec maps right now.
Yeah, that's what.
Another change that we did see is if you look at scare zones. And we addressed this in our unreleased episode, was are they really going to have an anniversary zone and a 30 years, 30 fears zone? It seems a little redundant. Well, it changed. If you look at the spec map now, we have the 30th anniversary zone and original. So, it sounds like they believe that is not going to be the case.
And it looks like
something that we were curious about. So
yeah, things have changed a little bit. It looks like they had anniversary zone, 30 years, 30 fears, Terra Corinthus, Unknown Original, and Creep Show. And now they have 30th anniversary zone, Unknown Original, Creep Show, Terra Corinthus, and Best of Scare Zone. So basically, they just swapped out, instead of 30 years, 30 fears, they're calling it Best of the Scare Zone.
Yeah. And they kind of flipped the locations a little bit, it looks like.
Which we kind of knew from the Scare Zone shirt that we were getting something like that.
I will say, I am excited to see Terra Corinthus was originally supposed to be in San Francisco, they were saying. I didn't love that location. Now they have Terra Corinthus in Central Park, and I think that is the fucking
perfect place.
Perfect location. And I know some people are upset because they wanted to have like a bigger scale.
Yeah,
there's no show Terra Corinthus as like an intimidating, tight, claustrophobic space like Central Park is spot on perfection for me.
The only thing that I think that you're going to have to get shows kind of like you got shows for the like the Vikings Undead, where they're not like huge, elaborate, going to draw a bunch of people. But they did have like shows type scenes happen in Vikings Undead, so they can be done.
But what I'd remind you of is something like going back to HHN24 and Bayou of Blood, where they utilized more space closer out to like Mel's die-in.
Yes,
so there is more space where you can put like the stages. Yes,
that's true. That's true.
So if you use that outer area where they did for Bayou of Blood for the stages, and then more like the typical scare zone stuff through Central Park itself. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that would blend all the way into Hollywood, but I mean, they have done that in the past where those two scare zones basically kind of blend together and there's just really no break.
Yeah. I mean, I still think you got to have a little break, like at Mel's. Like have a little break right there. and then pick up where that stage typically is, and use that kind of space for a stage, or something where you can have some sort of show for the Terror Queen.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they'd have a Terror Queen scare zone without some Terror Queen.
Oh yeah, there's no way. You're gonna have the Terror Throne and hopefully sacrifices, Terror Queen shit.
Yeah. You're not gonna get the motorcycles in that scare zone.
Yeah, there's no way. Maybe as props. I don't think you're going to see people riding around. Yeah. The only way I could see it possibly happening is if they came out of the gate, took a quick lap like in front of Mel's,
right there,
and then took laps there, and that's it. I don't think you can go any further than that.
Maybe they're in like the best of scare zone kind of area, and it just kind of blends in because that was a best of scare zone type thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's possible.
They're just right there.
I don't know. I feel like they probably won't double down on Terra Quinta stuff in 2 scare zones. That seems a little much. Not that I'd be mad, but I don't think it seems like something they'd do.
Probably.
So can we talk a little bit about the best of scare zone mashup then? Because I'm pretty excited about that being an addition. Yeah, I think it's something we had previously heard is possible, and we've discussed it a bit, but like now it's actually on the spec map as best of scare zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
maybe we'll finally find out what the special guest is.
Right? Exactly. Where do they have this located? Let me see. This is what they have in Hollywood currently, which I think is it makes a lot of sense. Because I'm sure this is going to take up. It's going to be something that's going to cover a lot of scare zones. It's going to need a lot of space. So I get that. That makes sense. And then we're looking at stuff like, Vamp could be in there, Invasion could be in there. Just stuff that I'd say probably over the past decade people have loved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the options, honestly, I feel like they're easier. I feel like scare zones favorites have been a lot easier to pick out within this past like 5 to 10 years than they were previously.
Yeah, the standouts really stand out.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you can kind of guess. Like I'd honestly love to see like Acid Assault in some form. I don't know how you do it, but that'd be badass. I don't know how it would mesh with everything else, but give it to me.
Do we get to the same ones that are featured on the shirt, or do we just kind of completely start fresh? Because I know that there were some featured on the shirt.
I would not be surprised if it's kind of a start fresh. I don't know that.
Shirt.
I don't know that. They wouldn't be starting completely fresh, but I think they want to go with some new merch and change things up a bit. So I don't know if we can fully go off the shirt.
I do like that. It looks like the original zone, the unknown original, looks like they have it dropped in New York. So that's pretty exciting.
They do, and
we get a brand new something in New York. And New York is where really they can knock it out of the park.
Yeah. They actually moved what they called the anniversary zone out of there, which is now moved to Production Central. It looks like. So yeah, it's like I'm excited to see anything in that space. 'Cause that's a space that can be utilized so well. It's tough because it's an unknown original, so I don't know what it is at all. But unknown original are 2 words that get me very excited in general. So hey, I'm hyped for it. We
should preface that of all the things that usually are right on the Hornet Nightmare spec maps, the scare zones are the last things to kind of fall together. So this could be potentially change, or not quite accurate, like we alluded, where we don't necessarily think Creepshow is going to be a scare zone anymore.
I think houses, we're very confident that this lineup is what we're getting. Scare zones, I think it's going to fluctuate a lot. I think there's a few that have been so consistent, we can expect them to come. Like there'll be an anniversary zone, there'll be Terra Correntis. I'd say the other 3, man, they could still be toss-ups. We'll see. Or like locations could swap. I don't know. And they usually don't have it till like late summer, honestly, is when you're like, they get their scare zones down packed. So
I think we get to the 30th anniversary zone, which is going to be more icons, which we've seen before, but I think that's a hit. That's a crowd pleaser. And I think we get Terra Carentis because that it has been teased that 15 years later Terra Queen will make an appearance. But it's technically 16, but
it's 15 events.
15 events.
Events go by years. Or years go by events, not by actual years, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I think we'll get the best of Scare Zone mashup. I think those three are pretty locked in.
Yeah.
The others.
Yeah. I would probably, I don't want to bet against Horror Night Nightmares, but I think I would bet against them right now and say Creep Show will not be a Scare Zone. Sorry. Just, I have my reasons, and I believe it will not be there as a Scare Zone.
Well, then let's move on to the shows aspect. Looks like we're only getting one show.
Wait, did you say shows?
Well, shows.
If you look at the last map they posted from last year, it jumped from Scare Zones to U-Rest areas.
Yeah, you were just getting you got no shows. Now we're getting. It looks like they're based on this that Horror Night Nightmares thinks that there will be a fountain show, but not a theater show.
Correct. Yeah. So they actually label it fountain show. So what we usually would call a lagoon show, what everyone else in the community says, Marathon of Mayhem Part 2, baby.
Yes.
So
now that is exciting.
Yeah. No. Definitely. I think we expected it to come. Seeing it on here definitely makes us a little more excited.
Very excited.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think. I think there was an episode recently where we asked each other, do we think it's coming? And all of us said yes. We expect there to be a lagoon show.
Yes.
Now it's here on the spec map. I feel a lot more confident about it. I'm happy. Marathon of Mayhem was an absolute highlight of 29. So something similar will be great.
Yes. Now they do have Fear Factor Stadium just for a U-Rest area, which I don't know if they're necessarily...
Mike, I got to do it one more time where I don't fully agree that this is correct. We've previously talked about a bit.
Whole stadium for U-Rest area. You can just
no, you don't. You don't.
And part of London or something. You know what I mean?
That's not even really why. I think there have been some things that we have heard, and just honestly things that, looking at the way things will be and what will be needed. A stage show would be not a necessity, but very helpful to the operation as a whole.
Yes.
And I just don't see, with the way things are and what we've heard, how it doesn't come to fruition. So I'm still expecting, not fully banking on, but expecting there to be a show at Fear Factor.
Universal, unlike Disney, has not been afraid to do theater shows in this COVID-19 environment and with the Born Spectacular. So if I had to bet my money on it, I think that they would also try to do a socially distanced theater for a stage show during Halloween Horror Nights. You got that prime location. It's basically had something there since it's been utilized for the event, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember it being dark. I mean, years that I've been going to the event,
it hasn't. So,
yeah, I would almost bet my money that we would rather see a show in there than we would see a lagoon show.
I think lagoon show is easier to operate and cheaper to operate. To be honest, there's no. Definitely. The amount of actors you're paying to perform in that show all night is it's not cheap. It's not cheap, and it's heavily. It's more staffed than the space around the lagoon. So I mean, you're just looking at staffing costing astronomically more than it does for the lagoon show.
Yeah, I mean, I would only agree with that sentiment if they're not going to do like socially distanced squares and like people hired to enforce them around the lagoon, because that's going to require a huge event operation, or you're going to need teams of 20, 30, 40 people to pack that lagoon show. We're not talking just packing a theater, which you can do a team with.
I don't think it'll be that many people. I don't think it'll be
You
anywhere near that many
all the way
people.
around the lagoon, right?
No,
or do you just pack the area?
Oh, you just pack the normal area
and just let people.
And you keep moving elsewhere. Yeah, for sure. You literally have that one, just like not last year, like 29. You have that
just
area. That's where it is, and that's it.
Then how are they going to enforce that people are being socially distanced in the area, other areas? Or you just kind of give up on that?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think come September, there will be rules in place. I'm not sure how much Universal is going to enforce them.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. I'm not sure things will be enforced heavily at that point, for better or for worse.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think you're probably right. If we get a lagoon show, it's going to be hard to enforce that.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to put like markers and kind of like squares where parties can stand, something like that. And there will be people, you'll have a couple people walking around monitoring, but I don't think it's going to be as intensely monitored as it is now.
All right. Is there anything about this speculation map that you find interesting, Duff, we want to talk about?
Oh, everything.
Well,
so it's interesting.
Anything that doesn't require...
I think we've covered everything that I want to discuss. I do want to say, especially talking about like a theater show at Fear Factor, is Horror Night Nightmares takes this seriously, and they aren't just going to willy-nilly throw stuff out there. So them leaving something off the map doesn't necessarily mean they're saying, no, this definitely isn't happening. It's just saying, we don't have enough info at this time to put it on our map. So
the info is not credible enough for us to put it on the map. We're coming from the number of sources that we need it to come from, that type of thing. Right?
And I'm not talking to them, so I don't know what they're hearing, but it's possible they have heard like from somewhere that, yeah, there will be one, but it's not to the level where they're willing to say, yeah, it's coming. Because I mean, they honestly control the fans' thought process of speculation.
Yes.
And that's kind of, it's a lot of responsibility. So you don't want to be getting a lot of stuff wrong at that point. So you gotta be careful what you put out there, and you gotta be confident. So just because they don't have it on there now doesn't mean they won't have it on there maybe next time. Who knows?
Yeah. They have to release a couple more of these maps before it's all said and done. You can't get it all, put it all right on the first one. You gotta leave a little.
Right. Yeah. Gotta keep people coming back.
Exactly.
So I think that's kind of all we got for the spec maps, but I'm really excited. That's our first one of 2021.
Yeah,
we're fully back in the swing of that speculation season again. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So before we move on, let me I'll just go over the houses. Because I don't think we actually did it. We got Bride of Frankenstein Lives. You got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You have the Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. You have HHN Icons Captured. You have Welcome to Scary, Horror in the Heartland. You have the Wicked Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin. You have Pumpkin Theater, Captive Audience.
Puppet Theater.
I would like Pumpkin Theater.
Pumpkin
Theater would be interesting as well.
I like
Puppet Theater. Too many P's. My pop filter is working extra. The Haunting of Hill House, Beetlejuice, and Creepshow. So, Duff, do you kind of just off the cuff? Do we want to do kind of just like kind of a precursor hype list?
Yes, and I think this is great because normally when you go into a hype list, you plan it out. We're just going to rapid fire this, starting least to most hype. When it's any of our turns, we're not gonna think about it. We're just gonna say it. So we could say some wonky things.
Do we want to just take turns, or
let's take turns. And I kind of want Nico to start.
All right, so we're starting with least looking forward to.
Yes.
Super easy. Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, okay.
I went through it twice or three times. I went through it a couple of times. I forget how many times. Yeah, it's good. I don't like mouth horror, so not really my favorite. It was definitely my least favorite of the 3 HHN lighthouses that I was able to do last year. So yeah, not really, hyped for this to come back. I mean, it might be better without the plexiglass boo holes. If we're getting plexiglass on the boo holes this year or not, is still to be determined. But yeah, just not looking forward to Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, what do you think, Duff? What's your least?
We're doing it that way. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
sure. I think I'm gonna say Tooth Fairy.
Oh no, are we all gonna say Tooth Fairy?
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
same reasons for Nico. Same reason. No, it doesn't. It was a good house. I think it's we've seen it, and
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, that we've seen it, and it's the. I don't know. It was a rapid fire. I don't know how much. I don't know how much more I have to say because it was too much rapid fire. I can't describe it much.
I like Tooth Fairy, but if you have to say like hype, I kind of know what to expect. I'm interested to see if we don't get plexiglass and what they can do with it if we don't. But it's I'm obviously gonna, when it comes to this, I'm gonna have to pick things that I haven't seen before. I'm more excited to see what I haven't seen. And unfortunately, of the 3 that we have seen, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy is the one that I think we'll see the less change, like the least amount of change. I think for the most part, we've kind of seen what we're going to see, and it's going to be a very similar house to what we're going to see.
I'll be honest, sitting on it, I think I would have changed it, but that's not how this works. So moving on.
Second to last, Nico.
Creep Show, baby.
Oh,
because we just watched a walkthrough of the Creep Show house from Hollywood, and I wasn't impressed. So I think I remember saying to you guys, like, "Oh, do they put the bad ones in the Shrek theater? Is that like how it goes?" So
sometimes,
yeah, pretty much.
And then you said, "Yeah, pretty much." So, yeah, not really looking forward to Creep Show.
Real quick, we forgot to mention this when we were talking about it. There is a rumor going around that we will have the same exact stories used that they used in Hollywood. So that'd be from the 1982 film Father's Day, The Crate, They're Creeping Up on You, and from the 2019 series Gray Matter and Bad Wolf Down. So that's why him looking at Hollywood influenced this so much, I would think.
Yeah, we're running on the rumor that we're going to be getting the same. And I'll say my thoughts.
Okay, yeah. So my next one's gonna make people upset, and it's gonna be Beetlejuice.
Ooh,
yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I know. I figured.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Mike messed up. Not you, my mic.
His microphone was so mad at him. That,
yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a Beetlejuice, pretty much for the same reasons as Tooth. And I know that there's going to be a lot of additional scare actors for the most part, but I don't see complete overhauls of scenes coming, so it's nothing that I could be too excited for. And it wasn't my favorite of I guess it was part of HHN Light, right? Even though it was only 2 days. It wasn't my favorite that we saw last year either. So that's why it's down here.
Oh, okay. Well, I am going to not say Beetlejuice, and I'm going to say The Bride of Frankenstein Lives.
Mike.
Yeah. Yes. Mainly because I think for the most part, we are going to see a very similar house to what we have already seen. I don't think they're going to make much changes. It was a great house, but if we have to talk about things that I'm excited to see, for the most part, I know what to expect here. So the excite factor is not necessarily, I'm excited to see it, but I'm not more than things that I have no clue what I'm going to see. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, Bride of Frankenstein Lives has to be my second to least hype. I know what to expect. I know I'd expect really good house, but we'll leave it at that.
Reasoning's fair. Nico?
Yeah, third least looking forward to. I guess third least hyped would be Beetlejuice for me. Pretty much for the same reasons as you, Duff. I think they will improve probably a little bit from there. I think there were definitely some places where there were probably supposed to be more characters in there, and I think Beetlejuice has a higher ceiling than Revenge of the Tooth Fairy does, for me at least. So I feel like Beetlejuice will be able to fill that in.
Cool. And my 8th is Creepshow. Mainly because it's just not a property that I'm super hype about in general. I think it's a good replacement. I think it'll fit pretty well into Shrek Theater. But it's going to have the same story. If it has the same stories as Hollywood, even if it doesn't, I mean, it's just something that's not going to get me super excited in general. So it's something that any year, any situation is kind of going to be lower half of my hype list. So yeah, number 8.
All right. This is supposed to be rapid fire, and I'm going back and forth here. Part of me wants to say Beetlejuice, and part of me wants to say Texas Chainsaw. I'm going to say Beetlejuice.
Good choice.
Although I'm hesitant to say it because I do think of all the ones, I only got to do this one once. And I really, really loved it. I'm so excited to see this again. Almost more excited to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
But you're not, because you already said Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I already did. But I do think we are going to see a lot of things different in this house of all of the others. I think the operation was just kind of, not necessarily, I think I don't know why they threw it together and did it for 2 nights, but I think that it's going to be a lot different. I don't think it's going to be exactly the same. And I think it's going to be exciting to see what this house is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really good one. And I'm really excited.
That's how you finish off your number 8 on the hype list. It's really good. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Nico, number 7.
Number 7, Haunting of Hill House.
Ooh.
Just not super familiar with the IP there, and
we'll change that before we go.
It's an IP house, so it's already probably not as hyped. It's just lower on the hype list for me, just because it's an IP house. I feel like it's more restrictive that way. So, yeah. Which probably leads into what the next thing I'm going to say. So,
yeah, I figured it was one of the 2 for you. But my next one is the other one you're going to say, and that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
And again, it's just something that I think Leatherface is a fantastic horror icon. And I think at 26, we had a solid house, but it's nothing that's going to, make me too excited. I'm not going to get up and cheer for it when it gets announced. It's something that I think has potential to be a fun house, but I'm just expecting okay, that was good. So, I think number 7 is kind of perfect placement for that.
You took all the words out of my mouth, Duff. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my number 7. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an interesting house. But to be honest, when I close my eyes, I can kind of picture what I think the house looks like. I have a pretty strong idea of what this is going to look like. I think. I'm sure you can hear what it's going to sound like too. Yeah, I can hear what it's going to sound like. I know what the scares are going to be. And to be fair, that's an IP, so that's not necessarily it's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be able to be like, but we've had Texas Chainsaw before. I kind of have an idea what this is going to look like, but I'm still excited for it. You can see how much I hemmed and hawed about. I think I'm excited for all of these for the most part. But the Texas Chainsaw is my number 7.
Nico?
And it's my number 6 for all reasons already said.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So my number 6 finally got here. It took a while. I thought it might have been earlier, but it wasn't. Bride of Frankenstein Lives. And the reason that I'm looking at this differently than Tooth and Beetlejuice is because it was just kind of on a different level than those two. It was, the other two houses were good. Bride of Frankenstein Lives, even under its constraints, was fucking great. So the opportunity to see that again, maybe as a fully fleshed house rather than the limitations, it excites me. I've seen it before, so it doesn't excite me enough to put it into the top half. But number 6 isn't bad for something I've already seen,
Yeah. So is that my turn then?
Yep.
So
Yep.
my next one, I'm gonna have to say probably Creepshow. Yeah, I really like actually the Creepshow movies. I think they're fun and schlocky and really fun to watch. They're not scary. Nico, I think you could watch these and really have a fun time. I recommend you do so. I think you'll enjoy the house a lot more if you do.
We might have stream watch parties for Nico to watch
they're
these.
very, very silly. It's a very
Okay.
So, and I think it's gonna be fun. I'm thinking that we might actually see some different ones. Maybe it's not like Orlando to take something that's been done in Hollywood and do it nearly the same. That is not something Orlando's design team usually does. So there's the rumor. I am gonna to go out on a limb and say the rumor that it is exactly the same stories we're going to see over here. That doesn't sound like something Orlando does too often. So I'm going to say that we're maybe going to get some different stories, and we're going to get a little bit better of a house over here. And that's why I'm excited to see.
I know this isn't the time for this deeper discussion, but also interesting is that why would you have the same exact stories when there is literally a new season coming out like in a couple weeks? Just throwing that out there.
And you have Creepshow 2, which is probably the best of the Creepshows. It is wonderful.
We're going into too much detail. Nico, number 5.
Number 5 is going to be Welcome to Scary Horror in the Heartland.
Oh.
Mainly because I'm excited because it's original, but I also not familiar with much of the Cary, Ohio stuff as much as other fans are. So that's why it was between that or HHN Icons Captured. So I just put Scary a little bit lower, just because I'm probably not as familiar with that. I'm more familiar with the Icons than I am with Cary, Ohio.
Gotcha. So my number 5 is going to be what is my final IP? Shocker. Already done with IPs. Haunting of Hill House. And that's not to say I'm not excited. I'm very excited. I loved the series. And I know me being excited about this house makes me different than, a lot of people in the community. I know Mike feels the same way I do, that this house has a lot of potential to be great. I think we're going to see a lot of details that you could have missed in the show. And I'm talking too much for this rapid fire. But yeah, number 5, Haunting Hill House.
My number 5 is going to be the Puppet Theater. I think it's going to be really cool, but I do worry that it is not going to be scary. It's just it lack the liveliness of if we're not going to have. If we're going to rely fully on puppets and not have some actors in there, I think it could potentially fall flat. So I'm a little worried about this one. It could be really, really great, or it could be my least favorite. And so that's why I'm putting it in the middle of the road here, because I don't know what to expect on this one.
Did Mr. Houses Don't Have to Be Scary just knock a house for potentially not being scary?
No, but not necessarily. But it could also be. It could still be fun. I'm not saying that it is.
I mean, you put it at 5, so you're not like,
It doesn't have to be scary necessarily for me to like it, but it could also just kind of fall flat for me for other reasons.
Fair. All right, Nico, what's your number 4?
HHN icons captured.
All right.
I'm looking forward to this a little bit more than I am Scary Ohio, mainly because I just want to see the caretaker. So that's pretty much it. So
You
that's
can't
what
wait
I'm
to see
hoping
the
for.
artist scare come to life in his
Yeah,
face.
I really want to see that. So I'm looking forward to that more than I am looking forward to Scary Ohio.
Fair. That's fair. For number 4, this one's a little tougher. This is where things get real tough. But I think I'm going to pick Puppet Theater here. I think it has a lot of potential. There's, the the unknown factor of an original. I think what we saw in the video looks pretty solid. Honestly, I just think if you are putting up against 2 lore-based houses and Wicked Growth, which I am super hype about, it's got to fall below those. So number 4.
My number 4, I'm going to probably do HHN icons captured. This is another one. When I close my eyes and think about it, I kind of know what to expect. It's going to be really great. Don't get me wrong, but I have an idea of what this is going to look like. And I'm super excited for it, but it's not as excited as something that I have no clue what it's going to happen. Which, some of these others are like that.
Nico?
All right. Number 3. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's my girl, the bride. I'm really excited.
Yeah, held up a long time.
I'm really excited to see her again. I fucking loved this house so much. I think I have it like as my number 2 or number 3 all time. Just out of the 12 I've been to. Wait, 13. 13, yeah, 13 I've been in. But yeah, I'm super excited to see it again. I'm super excited to see it without plexiglass, if that does come to fruition. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see this house again. It's so good that I really wanted to see it again.
Yeah, hold your breath on that one.
So number 3 for me is going to be Scary. It's tough to not put the 2 lore houses up top, but Carrie feels more mashup-y more than anything, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I just personally like something that's more of a contiguous story rather than just full-on mashup. So for that reason and for that reason alone, it's going to be number 3.
For my number 3, I think I'm also probably going to do. I think this is where the Hill House falls. I am very, very, very excited for The Haunting of Hill House. Probably one of my favorite TV shows of that year. It was amazing. And honestly, I am not quite sure how they are going to pull it off into a haunted house. Like when I think about it, I'm not quite sure what we're going to see here. So I'm very excited. It could fall flat. So I'm a tiny bit concerned, but it could also be really, really, really great. And I'm excited to see how they pull this IP off. It is more of a drama than a horror movie, but the horror elements are terrifying. So I am excited to see what we get here.
Agreed. Nico, we got your top 2 now.
All right. Well, it would be very on brand for me to have this as my number 1, but instead I'm going to have it as my number 2 hyped. Puppet Theater. For that. Puppet Theater, I'll have number 2. Mainly because I'm really interested to see how that's going to pull off, but I am more interested in seeing how Wicked Growth, the realm of the pumpkin, is going to be. I like pumpkin horror stuff. Like I like creepy, like pumpkin stuff. I'm a big fan of pumpkins. I like the taste. I like the seeds. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. They're very close to me, though. Those 2 I'm really close to being, but I think Wicked Growth edges out a little bit more, as I feel like there's probably going to be more to it than Puppet Theater.
Nico, like you, I love a good fucking pumpkin seed that's been baked. But yeah, baby.
Nico has pushed Instagram girl over or two to be the first one to get the pumpkin latte when they release it at Pumpkin Spice.
PSL season, baby.
Yeah, he camps out for the old pumpkin spice latte.
All right, so this is really tough, and this is going to change potentially. Who knows? But rapid fire, I'm saying number 2 is Wicked Growth. Pretty much,
okay.
like I'm very excited for its possibility as an original, and obviously that leaves my number 1 as Icons Captured. And since it's rapid fire, I don't feel like tagging any potential spoilers. I won't say what the story is going to be at the moment. You can easily find it if you don't already know, and we'll discuss it at a later date, probably within a few weeks. But I'm very excited about the way they're tying this story for the Icons together, the potential ending, and I am very hyped. And you know what? I love fan service. I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. And, this is just going to be pure fan service.
Yeah. Agree with what you said on that one. This one's hard. I'm going to just kind of throw it out there and say my number 2 is also the Wicked Growth, the Pumpkin Lord. Take me to church, oh Pumpkin Lord. And I will make it my new religion. I am super excited. I love Halloween. I love Halloween themed haunted house stuff, and I think this one is just gonna have just Halloween all over it. And I'm excited for this one, but I'm just a little bit more excited for the Welcome to Scary anniversary mashup house here. Think back of all the great, amazing houses that were set in Cary, Ohio. We're going to get some amazing houses in this one. I'm so excited. It's my number 1. Just thinking of all the potential that we have for this anniversary house here for Welcome to Cary.
So if this is the map and we're going in, the 3 of us, where are we going first?
Oh, well, here's the thing. I'm doing Duff Gardens, so, whatever option
exactly,
Pain Screaming in Duff Gardens.
So it's going to be Puppet Theater.
EFG, right? So E.
Well, also H and I potentially, locations change. Which ones open at the Stay and Scream release? Usually get 2 options. Who knows what those 2 would be? Who knows?
Let's just for fun. Let's pretend. Let's make a guess. So we're staying at the Duff. Yeah, let's do it. We're staying at Duff Gardens, Stay and Scream, and let's say
okay. So MIB 10 is usually. I think usually MIB 10 is probably a pretty safe option. So you get Scary as an option.
Okay. Okay. I think I know where we're going.
Wicked Growth or Puppet Theater. I'd say it'd probably be Wicked Growth. And then
you can't go wrong with any of these.
And then you have
all 3 of these are
the other one would definitely be Beetlejuice. I'd say the other one would be. So I think you're looking at potentially Scary, Wicked Growth, and Beetlejuice. I would start with Wicked Growth.
Okay. I would probably.
It's on my hype list.
Wicked Growth and then Scary. Yeah, back to back. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then you got Puppet Theater waiting for you by the time you're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you're already in the area for Puppet Theater. So, you got Beetlejuice and Haunting of Hill House right after.
All right, you heard it here first. Wicked Growth is going to be the first house we go through.
Yeah. And if it's an option,
I should say
it will be.
I should say my list will almost definitely change once I sit down and think about it and things start to get confirmed and I think more about every house. And I can promise you that we will make an official hype list episode that will go into a shit ton of details on exactly why. We tried to do a rapid fire here, but it still took us 30 minutes anyways. We're going to go into more detail next time when we actually do our hype list episode. And I promise you, Nico will have watched Haunting of Hill House some Creep Show content and some Texas Chainsaw Massacre content by
At
then,
least
so he
3
can
episodes.
really
Yeah.
shape
Yeah.
his thoughts.
Yeah, at least three episodes in. If you don't have to,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have to go any more than that.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah,
has to
3.
watch all of Haunting. He has to. He has to.
It's still, he'll want to continue. After.
Yes.
All right, looking forward to it.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to see all of these hopefully get fully confirmed, make our hype list. Obviously, we got a lot more to speculate about scare zones potentially, shows even, as we discussed, potential Fear Factor show. So, I'm excited. It's not a full speculation season, but it is one regardless, and I'm happy we get to speculate.
Yeah, I am super excited. I'm just excited that we have things to talk about. We have, speculation maps again. We have announcements. I'm glad to be. 'Tis the season. It starts in March.
I mean, it starts a lot earlier than that for us, but sure, yeah, March.
Well, the announcement in spec season starts.
Yeah, definitely.
As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN365, and you can leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. Let us know what your initial hype list is. Let us know what you think the spec map is. It right or is it wrong? And we'll be back next week, and we'll see you in the streets.